I am Sayori Anoki, a 20-year-old office worker. I've been married to my husband Shingo for 2 years. We've not been blessed with a child yet, but we are living happily together. Mother-in-law, I'll take care of the rest.
What are you talking about? I'm your housemate. Let me do some work.
You don't have to say it like that.
I'm kidding.
I have a good relationship with both my in-laws. I thought my marriage was going to go on like this, until that storm of a family member with a whirlwind of selfishness came along. It all started with a phone call to my husband. It was from Kumiko, my sister-in-law, who said she was coming to our house. Then the sister-in-law arrived with her 3 children.
We're going to live here from today.
What? I was astonished at the first thing she said at the opening of the meeting. I led her through to the living room and asked her about the details, and she told me that Yutaro, Kumiko's husband, had cheated on her. That's why they were getting a divorce.
And on top of that, he's reluctant to pay alimony and child support. So we decided to move in here.
Kumiko's overly selfish argument stunned me and my parents-in-law. I'm sorry, I can't do that.
But you live with my mother and father.
We're only living together for a limited time. You know we're renovating our house right now.
Sayori kindly allowed us to stay until they rebuild.
If you're coming back, wait until that house is ready. Until then, you can rent a room somewhere.
No. After the renovation, the rooms will mainly be Japanese style, right? There's not a lot of rooms, and it's not for old people. In this house, we can have a room for the kids and a room for me, and we can live spaciously. A room for the kids and you? What about us? You're a couple, you only need 1 room, right?
I never liked the self-centered, selfish Kumiko, but now that we're deeply involved, she's a pain in the butt. My husband, who'd been silent up to this point, let out a sigh and turned to Kumiko. I had expected him to be firm in his refusal, but what he said was not what I had expected.
Well, if that's the case, we'll just have to prepare ourselves not to have any more kids. Just think of it as an addition to our family. And even if we don't have kids of our own, we can be the parents of the 3 kids. Let's allow Kumiko to live with us.
My mouth stayed open.
Shingo, what are you talking about?
Do you even know what you're saying?
What are you talking about? Kumiko and the kids are victims too. Let's welcome them with an open heart.
But that's a different story.
My sister's your family too. Why are you so cold?
That's my big brother. You're the only one who understands me.
You're not the only one living here, you know. I'm the mainstay of this house. I decide who lives here. I don't want you or mom or dad interfering with that.
What are you talking about?
That's how it is. I'm looking forward to working with you, sister-in-law.
Ugh. You have children. You can stay for now. I'm feeling a little sick, so I'm going to go lie down. With that, I went to the western room to rest my body. After that, my parents-in-law continued to lecture my husband and Kumiko, but it seemed that the idiot siblings, who were being somewhat strangely stubborn, would not listen to them. I was angry at Kumiko, who was obviously trying to be a parasite in our house, but I was even more angry at my husband. Be prepared not to have children? Additional family members? Be their parents? I need to rethink my life from now on. I tried, but we couldn't have kids for 2 years, so we did a fertility test. I didn't have a problem, but my husband didn't want to do it because of his male pride, and he didn't get tested. With things like that, my husband was too reluctant to have a child with me. Living in this big house makes me lonely sometimes. In the meantime, we had to give up having kids and Kumiko takes over the house? It must be a bad dream or something. That night, when we ended up being stuck in the house with Kumiko's family... Hey, honey, are you serious about what you said during the day?
What? You don't feel sorry for Kumiko and the kids? A family is in trouble. If you meddle in my decisions anymore, I'll have to consider a divorce.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I can bring the divorce papers tomorrow if you want. Think about what's going to happen to a cold-hearted woman who can't even have children.
Fine, I get it. So that's how you feel. He's using divorce as a leverage to get his way. And he calls his wife a cold-hearted woman who can't have children? If you're going to act like that, I have an idea. 2 days later, the Kumiko divorce fiasco, which had caused so much fuss, was easily cleared up.
I'm really sorry for causing you trouble. No, I'm sorry for our bad daughter.
I really can't apologize enough.
No, I'm sorry for everything.
You have our sympathies. Thank you for coming all the way from afar.
Kumiko's family left easily with Kumiko's husband, who came to pick them up. Here's what happened. My mother-in-law, who had doubts about Kumiko's story, contacted Kumiko's husband to confirm the facts. Kumiko's lie was revealed there.
I went to the reunion, but she didn't want to hear about it, calling it cheating. Of course, I have nothing to be ashamed of.
Kumiko's husband came to our house to pick up Kumiko as soon as he heard what had happened from my mother-in-law.
Because my brother's house is huge! I thought I could move into his house if I got divorced because my house is too small and I'm ashamed of it.
Ah, so you want to move to my grandfather's house, which is bigger than ours? If you want a divorce, I'll agree. But not if you're going to cause trouble in this house.
I was scratching my head at the power of Kumiko's husband, but it was kind of funny. Kumiko's family argument was over, but her husband was not satisfied with the result and complained about it even after Kumiko's family left.
Dad! Mom! Why did you send Kumiko back to her husband?
Your sister is the one who tried to push through with her selfish demands.
But to let her live with her husband's grandfather? Who's not even related to her by blood? That's too much!
Then what about my current situation?
You're my wife, and you're just doing what you're supposed to!
At this moment, my marriage to my husband was completely out of sight and gone. So I decided to go ahead with it. I would have put it on hold depending on his reply. Too bad. That's what it is, father-in-law and mother-in-law. Now that I understand Shinjo's feelings, I would like to divorce him as I've told you. My parents-in-law with their large luggage appeared with a devilish look on their faces.
Yes, we can't help it if our son is like this.
We're really sorry if we took advantage of your kindness too. Sayori, if you ever need help, you can always count on us.
Why? I don't get it! Well, thank you so much for your time, even if it was short.
After seeing my in-laws off, my husband was still babbling on, so I decided to be kind and tell him. You know, I know you're the man of the house and all, but this is my house. It's the house my late father left me, and I'm the one who has the right to it. Just because we got married doesn't make it yours. This is a house that I inherited from my father, who passed away last year. Naturally, the house is in my name. We originally lived in an apartment near here, but when my father passed away, we took over the house that was left behind. My husband seems to have forgotten that, though. You blame me for not being able to have children, and you decide to live with my sister's family without my permission. When your demands are not met, you use divorce as a shield to get me to do what you want. I'm so fed up with you.
Hey, are you serious? If we get divorced...
I remember when you said, "Think about what will happen to you, a cold-hearted woman who can't even have children if you get divorced." I thought about it, but I don't see the problem. My fertility test came back fine, and I'm working, so it wouldn't make a big difference if I got divorced now. I'm just glad we can get divorced before we have kids.
Are you sure? I'll really divorce you! You're going to regret it! Apologize now, and I'll forgive you!
I said I want a divorce.
Fine! I'll get out of here! I don't want a cold-hearted woman like you anyway! You stone woman! You infernal woman! You'll be sorry!
With such a throwaway remark, my husband left. I was told that I could send my husband's belongings to the monthly apartment where my in-laws are staying, so I'll send that there with the divorce papers.
Sister-in-law, since the divorce is proceeding, we're going to stay at your place after all.
What a coincidence! I'm getting a divorce too, so please don't come to my house again. This is my house. Kumiko called me again, but I was busy, so I ended it in a second. I don't care about what happens to her family.
Hey! Sayuri! It's me! Open up! Let's talk!
My husband came to the house after realizing I was serious about the divorce, but I responded by locking the door with a chain and pretending not to hear. So he went back to his parents-in-law. After that, my husband was really insistent on not getting divorced, but my father-in-law seemed to have shut him up and we were able to get divorced smoothly. I got my share of the inheritance.
Where did we go wrong? I'm sure that my eyes were clouded when I looked at you two.
Keep your eyes cloudy for the rest of your life. I received such a half-hearted request for reconciliation from my ex-husband, but I returned one line and immediately blocked him. From what I've heard, he is receiving a lot of guidance at a relative's house with a reputation for being strict as a form of re-education from my ex-in-laws.
Let's start over again as husband and wife, from scratch!
When he goes home, he has the strict eye of his father-in-law as he is living a life of exhaustion every day. By the way, Kumiko got divorced as well. The father has custody of the child. Apparently, she spent the savings for the children, and now she has to work to pay it back.
She comes to us asking for money, but we always turn her away, saying she can't come into the family home until she can pay back the money on her own.
I see. It must be tough for two of you as well. The information about my ex-husband and Kumiko came from my ex-mother-in-law, whom I happened to bump into on the street.
Sayori, my husband and I wish you happiness. Be happy.
Thank you very much. Take care. My unresolved feelings about the divorce is how I have a good relationship with my former parents-in-law, and I lost that connection. But I can't keep lamenting. I'll keep trying to find my own happiness. As a side note, my ex-husband and Kumiko are now insulated after a big fight because they're blaming each other.
Thanks for watching! Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Bye!